Hi everyone, hope you're all well today. So this class is going to be focused a little more on the hips and the hamstrings. The other class was focused on the upper body, so now we're looking at the lower body. The lower body stores your kidneys, it's your boiler room, it's your energy, your grounding, your strength, whereas the upper body is more the heart, the lungs. Yeah, so if you have a cork block or a foam block or anything as well, or even stack up some books and wrap a blanket around them, that would be great. So to start, we're going to start lying down. So bring yourself to lie all the way down onto your mat. Have your knees bent. Bring your hands onto your tummy. And with each exhale, just slowly let your back soften. So let it gently release down into the mat. And even think about a very subtle pull of pubic bone to belly button. So you feel a flat back. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And out. Maybe wiggle your jaw a little bit from side to side. Maybe scrunch your face and release it. Just allowing yourself to arrive. Having the hands resting on the tummy, see can you allow your breath to move down to below your belly button into a space that is called the hara, H-A-R-A, the center of your body. Noticing if you're holding tension in your shoulders, in your collarbones, can you relax and soften? And then finding your block or books or whatever, lift your hips and then place the block or books underneath your bum. Okay, so this one is under your bum, not your lower back or anything. And then I want you to really focus on letting your back just mold down towards the floor. So again, there's that little tuck of the tailbone. And this is opening up a space in the lower back. So a lot of the time our vertebrae are stacked quite close together, and that's what gives us our back pain a lot. So if you can create a little bit of space for air, for oxygen to get around the vertebrae, that always helps. Notice if your weight is shifting a little more to one side than the other, so can you even it up? Maybe even reach your arms up over your head and walk your feet down all the way to the ends of your mat, straightening your legs. Nice stretch into the hip flexors. Breathe in, breathe out. Maybe this is enough. Maybe bend the knees a little. Plant your feet on the ground. If you have another block, I recommend placing another block under your hips and getting your hips even higher. But if you don't, it's not the end of the world. Okay? So taking hold of your block with your hands, lift your knees up towards your chest. So make sure you're not on the edge of your block. You want your bum almost, or the top of your bum resting on the blocks. So you're structured and you're supported. And then lift your feet all the way up to the ceiling. Wiggle the toes, circle your ankles, get some good ankle cracks going. Cross your right leg over your left, like you're sitting at a table, cross-legged. And then bend the other leg, the left one. Gently pull it down towards you. Now, left leg, point your toes and slowly let your toes find the mat. So very slowly find the mat. Plant your foot back down onto the mat. And then let your knees just slowly roll a little from one side to the other side. This isn't a big hip stretch or anything like that. It's just a very subtle movement into the hips. Nice. Bring your knees back up into your chest. Change the cross. So left over right. Toe points to the right and then let it float back down to the ground. Heel plants. Again, maybe just rocking your knees a little from one side to the other side. Noticing any little subtle differences on this side versus the other side. And again, come back to the center, knees up towards your chest, uncross the legs, bring both knees in towards you. They don't have to be touching by any means. And then straighten your legs all the way up to the top, up towards the ceiling. Soles of the feet together, knees wide, Baddha Konasana. And then you place your hands on your thighs and just gently move your knees a little from one side to the other. Keep the feet touching. I can definitely feel this a little more on my left side, funnily enough, than my right. And then lift the feet all the way back up towards the ceiling. Bend your knees, place your feet down flat onto the ground. Lift your hips, don't lower your back yet. Just lift your hips, take the block away. Stick your bum out and then slowly come all the way down and let the lower back relax. So if you had those blocks really high, if you had about 2 or 3 stacked on top of each other, really take your time removing them. Just do one at a time and allow your back to ease back into its shape. Nice. Gently roll over to one side and lift yourself all the way up onto hands and knees. Block out of the way and come forwards onto hands and knees. Palms of the hands flat onto the mat. Middle fingers, bring them to touching so that you have a frame and a boundary to work within, and then turn them back to facing forwards. And as you inhale, lift the eyes, look forwards, draw the shoulders back. And as you exhale, tuck and round. Press the hands into the floor. Inhale, lift the heart, look up. Exhale to round. Inhale. Exhale. Nice. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Come to a neutral spine. Bring your big toes to touching. Walk your knees out really wide. Stick your bum in the air. Lift your eyes, look forwards. And then very slowly sink your bum back towards your heels and walk your hands out in front of you, forehead to the floor. Relax the armpits. Let the elbows come down. Listen to your breath. And then slowly lift yourself all the way back up onto hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Bring your knees in towards each other. And then when you're ready, pull back to downward dog. So pull the hips back and up, back and up. Plant the hands onto the mat. Have a little bend into the knees. And then pull your hips up like you're pushing your nose to your knees. Now notice the weight in your hands. Get it even. And see, can you press your index fingers down into the ground a little bit more? Exhale. Nice. Slowly walk your feet towards your hands. Take your time. You can bend knees as much as you need, but get those feet to hands. And then feet are hip width apart and exhale, fold over yourself. Now, if those hamstrings at first are just super tight, that's fine. Bend your knees a little bit so that they're soft. And shrug your shoulders down your back. Now you really want to try to get your fingertips to touching the floor. So you're not just kind of hanging out in the air, right? You want to focus and you want a connection. Connection and contact leads to conversations. So bend the elbows and fold over. Chin to chest. We're going to hang here a little while. In fact, take hold of opposite elbows. Now, see, are you leaning into your heels? If you're leaning back into your heels, you're leaning into your ass and you're leaning actually into your lower jaw as well. So you want to lean forwards into the balls of your feet a little bit more without falling over, obviously. And then you get more access into your forward fold. So you're not hanging out in your lower back. You're way more in your hip joint. Elbows, heavy. Arms alongside ears. Chin to chest. Exhale. Few more breaths here. Keep lifting your bum up. Nice. Slowly drop fingertips down to the floor. Take 3 half lifts. Inhale if the eyes look forward. Exhale down. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Nice. Plant your hands flat on the mat and step back either into plank or onto your knees. So either plank or step back onto your knees. Totally up to you. From wherever you are, look forwards. Lean forwards. Hug your elbows in. Sink your chest and your chin to the ground. Gentle roll of the shoulders back. Inhale, lift. And then push up, push back, downward dog. Exhale. Nice. Step your right foot forwards to the top of your mat. Either swing your leg forwards or drop your left knee down to the ground. Look forwards as you step your right foot. So I say left, drop the left foot, step the right foot forwards. Now notice your hips. So you don't want to have your hips in line with your knees. You want to really sink those hips forwards. Look forwards. Tuck your back foot. Press the ball of your back foot into the ground. Find the ball of your front foot. Press it forwards. Like you're trying to split the mat in two. Reach your hands forwards and rise up. Keep pressing your feet down and back. So you're not just dumping into the hips. There's a little bit of a lift up through them. Nice. Bring your left hand in front. Right hand behind. Exhale. And then drop back hand to back thigh. Reach up. Come back up into your twist. Left hand comes down to the ground. Right hand reaches up. If you want to lift your back knee, you're more than welcome. But you don't have to. You can keep it on the ground. Turn your eyes to the floor. Bring your right hand down beside your baby toe. And then just pull your hips back. Just as far as they can go. Do not pull a hamstring or anything. So just let the hips move back. Front knee stays bent. Shoulders are relaxed. Chin to chest. Nice. Inhale, lift the eyes, look forwards. Come up onto fingertips and let those hips sink really far forwards again. Exhale, pull the hips back. Bow down. Inhale, come forward. Sink into the hips. Exhale, pull back. Nice. One more. Inhale. Now, this time, we're going to take a little back bend. So, plant the left palm of your hand down on the ground. Left foot, back foot's going to kick to the left. And as you do that, your bum's going to pull back a little. And then that front leg is going to swing its way all the way out and plant on the mat. And then left foot's probably going to have to kick up the mat a little more. Now scoop your bum in, lift your chest, lift your chin, reach your right arm over your head. Play around a little here, leaning backwards, leaning forwards, working into the sides of your waist. And then slowly come all the way back into tabletop. Plant the hands, plant the knee. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, hard forwards, lift the eyes. Exhale to round into angry cat. One more, inhale. Exhale, bum back towards your heels, big toes touching, hands out in front and forehead down. Nice. Inhale, pull yourself up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes, pull back and up, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg all the way up. And either choose to fling that left leg forwards or just drop your right knee and fling your left foot forwards. Come right up onto fingertips. Watch those hips again. Let them sink forwards. Lift the chest. Look up. Now press down strong into your front foot. Reach your hands forwards as you rise up. Back toes still tucked. Press into the balls of your feet like you're splitting the mat in two, and then pull your belly forwards and up. Lift up. Nice. Slowly reach all 10 fingers down to the ground. Lift your eyes up forwards as you pull your hips gently back. So don't think you have to straighten that front leg. Just pull back until you feel that hamstring kick in. And then bend the front knee. Keep the eyes lifted. And then pull back a little bit there. Again. And this time we're going to pause here. Drop your chin to your chest. Nice. Inhale. Lift the eye. Come up. Tuck your back toe. Lift your back knee. Lift the hips high, 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 high. Yeah? See how you go here. Right hand stays on the ground. Left hand reaches up towards the ceiling. If you need to, you can drop that back knee. But if you can keep it up, go for it. Drop the back knee. And then keep moving as your left hand comes all the way back to point behind you and your right hand lifts up. Left hand drops to back thigh, front hand reaches up. And then you're going to cartwheel the hands and step back to downward facing dog. Exhale. Take a breath. Inhale to plank. With the eyes look out. Knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, roll the shoulders back. Little lift, squeeze the glutes. And then pull back, bum towards your heels. Exhale. Nice. Drag your hands to your knees and lift yourself all the way up. Relax the shoulders and the neck. Breathe out. Nice. Tuck your toes. Bring your knees into touching. Walk your hands up your thighs. Lift yourself up to sitting. Find your baby toes. Release them out. Stay with it. Do the opposite. Untuck your toes. Lean back. Lift your knees up off the floor. If you have a block, again, whoops, you could come down onto the block. That's absolutely fine. And then when you're ready, whoop, flock out of the way. Downward dog. So tuck the toes. Hands go forwards. Lift the hips. Walk your hands to your feet. So moving backwards. Fold over. Walk your feet out wide. And turn your toes out and your heels in. And then swing your bum from side to side. And as you swing your bum, bend your knees. And then very gently, you're going to lower yourself down into a squat. So really do take your time, and you might need to keep moving into the hips, so swinging the hips from side to side, coming down as far as you can go, and you might not make it down to the floor. If you've got blocks, again, you can bring yourself to sit on a block. That can even feel nice. You can really lift yourself up and get your feet down onto the floor, and then use your elbows to push your knees away from you. If you don't have blocks, pillows or blankets underneath the feet are absolutely fine. And then press the hands into each other and lift and look out. So can you calm the mind and calm the breath. And then slowly, hands to the floor, bum to the sky, toes turn to face forwards. Lean forwards again. You don't want your bum back behind you, so leaning forwards and then folding over. Bend the knees a little. Exhale. Take another breath. Bend your knees, round your back, and slowly come to standing. Keep those arms dangling long. Lifting, 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 lifting. And then head comes up and shoulders roll back. Exhale. Nice, guys. Notice how your feet are. So mine are way too wide right now. So think about, you want to set yourself, your feet up hip width. And a guideline for that, I think I have them roughly that, is if you turn your toes in, and they don't reach. So walk your feet in like so. Not the most flattering when you're looking at a camera doing it, but that's a really good measurement, okay, for hip width. Inhale, reach the arms up, lift up and lengthen. Exhale, bend the knees, fold over. Take a half lift, inhale. Exhale, bow down. Walk your hands forwards, slowly, back to downward facing dog. Blocks can go out of your way. Nice. Drop both knees all the way down to the ground. Draw your right knee forwards, coming behind your right wrist. Don't move your wrist anywhere. So from your downward dog, drop both knees. Don't move your hands. Walk your knee forwards to the behind the wrist, and then walk the knee out to the right, and then wiggle that ankle, the right one, up. Do not think you have to get your foot diagonal to the top of the mat, okay? That, like, yeah, just don't. And then tuck the back toe. Wiggle your back foot back, and as you do that, your hips go back and they go down. Now, if you've got a bolster or blanket, get them underneath you so you can plug your perineum into them. And then you're plugged into the earth. Sometimes in Pigeon we don't have that luxury. So keep yourself centered at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And then come up onto fingertips. Notice those shoulders, keep them down. Nice. Walk your hands a little further out in front of you. And then imagine you're trying to pull your chest forwards, almost pushing the mat away from you. Walk your hands over towards the bent knee, so towards the right. And then see, can you pull that left hip, left bum cheek back a little more, getting a bit more space into the left kidney. Nice. Now see how you go. Either you want to stay here and this is enough, or you drop your left elbow down to the ground. Yeah? And you make a fist with that left hand. And then your right hand comes down and you like paper, rock, scissors. Paper goes over the rock. Push down to lift and twist up. Okay, so just take your time here. Keep that right bum cheek gently, mindfully pulling back. Breathing in, breathing out. And slowly release fingertips back to the floor. Come back through the center And then work your hands all the way over to the other side, to the left. Nice. Walk your hands all the way back through the middle. Lift the eyes, look out. So really think about sinking down into those hips. Drop onto your right bum cheek and sweep left leg all the way out in front of you. Now, here's where you probably will need your props if you have really tight hips. So we're going for fire log pose. So right leg comes forwards. I'm going to pull my left leg out of the way. Right leg is going to come forwards and it's going to move so it's parallel to the top of your mat. And then your left leg is either going to give it a go and see can it go just above your right knee. Now, chances are you're just up too high. And if you are up too high, and if you're, the knees are up around your chin, you've got to get yourself higher. Whoops. Sorry, guys. You've got to get yourself up higher. So sit up on a block. So do get yourself up higher. And then very gently. And this might be you. And that's grand. You're just easing your way into it. Fingertips to the floor. Start to pull your pubic bone forward. So start to think you're about to almost fall off a block. And the block might even lift off the floor a little bit, and that's fine. And then very gently work your hands out in front of you. And this might be enough. And just find your breath. It is windy outside. The clouds are rolling past. Nice. Slowly lift yourself all the way up. Lean back and straighten those legs out in front of you. If you're sitting up on something, stay sitting up and just fold over yourself a little. Nice. And then gently lift yourself all the way up. Come on to hands and knees again from wherever you are. Hands onto the mat. Try downward dog. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips back and up. Really think about pressing the mat forwards and pulling your bum back. Think about bending your knees a little. And then drop both knees down to the mat at the same time. Draw the left knee forwards behind the left wrist and then walk it out a little to the left. Drag your left ankle across the mat, not so it's parallel, but just as far as it'll go. And then tuck the back toe and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle your back foot back. So your hips go back and down. Again, if you have a block or if you have blankets, actually are better here. Go underneath your perineum so you can plug yourself in a little bit more. And then come right up onto fingertips. And bring it out. If pigeon really is hard, then do just lift yourself up a little higher. So you want to plug in. And then maybe walk the hands 1 or 2 steps out in front of you. Walk your hands over to the left. Breathe in through the right side. And then drop your right elbow down to the floor. And the same again, make a rock with that right hand. Paper with the left. Paper goes on top of rock. Push down, lift, and twist. And slowly come all the way back to the center. Come back up onto fingertips, look forwards. And then maybe walk your hands all the way up to the other side. Walk your hands back through the middle. Drop onto your left bum cheek. Walk your left foot forward, so this one is parallel to the top of the mat. And then sweep your right leg all the way out in front of you. Stacking right ankle on top of left. Again, notice how you're sitting. So if you need to sit up on something, please do. Don't just sort of, do a half-hearted approach and then you haven't set up your foundations, your scaffolding. Your building's going to crumble. So if your knees are up high, and maybe on the left it's totally different, that's fine. But instead of leaning back, I want you to think about leaning forwards. And see how that block is just going almost off the ground. Like I'm barely on it. It's really pulling my pelvis back so I can get much more access into my hips. Now, I have really open hips. Okay, I know that. But still get yourself up on a block. And even when I sit on a block, that really helps. Fingertips out in front. Breathe out. And maybe walk your hands forward. Work your hands all the way back and lift yourself up. Nice. Block out. Legs straight out in front of you. You'll bend into the knees and just forward fold. Hands go wherever they go. Nothing too big. Nice. And slowly lift yourself on. Okay. Last thing. You are going to need something to sit on for this one. So come forwards onto hands and knees. However you get there, how you get there is totally up to you. Bring your knees into touching and cross your right leg around the back of your left. Separate your feet out really wide and then walk your hands back and sit back on your block. So you're sitting up in eagle legs. Yeah. You might need to walk your lower leg out a little more and top leg in or out. See how you can find that spot where it feels okay. Nice. And then slowly walk your fingers out in front. Again, you can come onto elbows and stay here. Keep thinking about reaching lungs forwards and down. And drop your chin down to your chest. Apologies if you can hear everyone downstairs chatting. We've decided to have a really loud conversation. Next, and then when you're ready, you're going to walk all the way back up. Now, you have options to get out. Either you just uncross and straighten the legs, or you get some momentum, and then you come back up. Okay, either way, how you get out of it is totally up to you, and what you do next is completely up to you to wiggle things out. You might even want downward dog, you might just want cat-cow, glass of water, circle the hips a little. Nice, and then bring the knees to touching and the feet to touching again. Left leg around the back of right. Separate your feet out wide. Make sure your block is roughly where your bum's going to land. And then when you're ready, whoa, sit back. I I should have mentioned, if this is not accessible to you from sitting, you can do this lying down. And I'll show you that now in a second. Okay. So if it is accessible to you, just getting bum onto block, blankets, towels, books, something solid. So towels sometimes can be a little too soft, or pillows can be soft. And then when you're ready, fingers out. Find the breath, breathe in, breathe out. Maybe drop your chin and curl in. For those of you who prefer to do this lying down, same thing. So you just lie down, knees to chest, and cross your legs over. And then you've got to find your ankles. And you just pull in. So pull up and down. And finding your breath. Breathing in. Breathing out. Nice, guys. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Lift up, block, out, legs out in front of you, and literally lie down completely flat on your mat. Legs straight, 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 so you can release down into the hips. You might even want to take a stretch, arms overhead. Nice. Finding that cork block of your books again. Bend your knees, lift your hips, get your bum onto the block, and then straighten your legs all the way out in front. Reach your arms over your head, take hold of opposite elbows, and just hang here for a little while. And allow yourself to drift away. Not into the checklist that you need to do things today, but drifting away into your imagination, your visions, your dreams. Drifting towards your breath, listening to your breath, feeling your breath. Nice. And then again, bend your knees. Bums on your block, knees to chest. Again, if you find that you're coming off your block, just, pull it up a little more. You really want to have everything, your lower back, that sort of flat part of your back on the block. And then just straighten your legs up. If there's someone else in the house, get them to press down on the soles of your feet. Feet up the wall is also great, with a block under the hips and a bolster on your feet. I think we're going to be online for a while, so building your own yoga studio is great. And then knees to chest, hands around the knees. Maybe even a happy baby. Take hold of the outside edges, knees to chest. And then slowly just lower the feet down to the floor. Knees can be bent, or if you want a little more in the straight leg, totally fine as well. And then when you are ready, which you might not yet be, but in your own time, just lift your hips, take the block out, and slowly come all the way down. Walk your feet out to the edges of your mat and just windscreen wiper your knees from one side over to the other side. And then come to the center and Walk your feet to the ends of the mat and bring your arms down onto your tummy. Really let your toes roll out to the edges of the mat so there's no holding on the legs. And imagine what it would feel like if you had no fear. No fear at all. How does that feel? What does your world look like? No fear. And you're repeating it to yourself, connecting with the words. Take a big inhale and an exhale. Bend your knees. Roll over to one side. Lie on your side for a moment. And then slowly push yourself up to sitting. And again, you can sit cross-legged or legs out in front. Sunshine. Not going to complain about that sunshine. And just take a moment. Hands together. Breathe in. Bow forward. Breathe out. Namaste. Well done, guys. Thank you very much for taking part in this video. If anyone has any questions or anything, drop a line to Sinead and she'll pass it on. Any feedback, always welcome. And hopefully I will see you all soon. Thank you.